How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
You doing anything later? You have time to, you want to just talk? I remember that's the first thing that you said to me. And when we first got on to talk about this song, you were like, "Are you busy? Because I just want to learn more about you and the team and the process." And I thought it was so cool. And I remember when I did a session with Matoma, he basically said the same thing. He's like, I jumped on with Anna, and before we even started the session, we just talked for 4 hours. I think that that's something that makes you truly unique and special is the just the human underneath your whole project. And I think that it always comes out in your music, and it comes out in you and your stories and your posts, and the way you connect with fans is very raw and real. And I I could definitely learn a few things from you in that department. So I think it's really cool.
How are you so nice? That's like one thing that I've definitely like taken away from this when people are like, "Oh, like how is it working with John?" blah blah blah. I'm like, I don't understand how a human being can be so nice.
I think you need that. I mean, I think in quarantine, like, there's so many things that we can't control. And I've learned so much in the last year about kind of really trying to be present when I'm present and staying firmly planted in the moment. Even in sessions and like working on this record, it's like nothing is gonna happen really overnight. Like it's going to be a process. I'm going to have to send you vocals. You're going to send me back vocals. We're going to talk about that. We're going to go over harms. We're going to go over ad libs. We're going to talk about that. It's so to get all kind of like anxiety or frazzled about it not happening right now or not being done, or you got to let it go. Like we got to create under the restrictions that kind of, I mean, I live in Orlando, I'm in Florida, kind of just in this room for 8 hours a day, every single day. And I have to be okay with that too. So I've learned to kind of let the things go that I can't control and just be cool. Like just try to go with it. And whatever turns out great, turns out great. And I think that this record is awesome.
When you sent that first pass, and I'm pretty sure I already told this to you, I was like, "Holy shit!" Like I just like it's really nice to hear someone in the music industry that just is so wonderfully talented and like your voice is just incredible. And it's surprising because there's not a lot of that out here sometimes. Like your vocal control and your tone are just beautiful again, which is why I was like, I'm not mad that he wants to be on the record, but I'm just like, what's the catch?
Nah, no catch, no catch. I just wanted to help tell the story with you, and I felt connected to it. And I think that we have a lot of similar tendencies vocally. I think there's a lot of things I hear in you. I'm like, yeah, like that's how I would have done that. Like little rolls down, the little rolls and the little trills and the flips, and just the way you approach melody is kind of like somebody told me once that I approach vocals like a guitar soloist. And I thought that was really cool because I'd never really made that connection. But at like having that perspective now I think about that, and I'm like in my head when I'm thinking about like a ad lib line or something, I'm like playing it as I'm like thinking about it
That's
like
so
an ad lib, like a fill, and like a what place should it sit in, what space should it live in, and what's too much and what's not enough, just kind of getting that the right amount of sauce. Because I started out, really as a vocalist, singing covers and stuff, and I knew I could sing. And the writing side of it came later, and I used to, go in like that and lead with all these different melodies and go into the booth and do a bunch of just melody passes over a couple chords, and then try to come back and like Sudoku it into like what does this word sound like? But when you lead with the story and you lead with a concept, then the melody is already in us and it comes out connected. And when you have that foundation to jump off of, like the lyric and melody come out connected and you feel every single word, and you get this whole new side. That's why when I wrote with Steph Jones and we wrote If We Never Met, the concept was so strong and so out front that it was a quick write because everything came out together, already connected. And it didn't take much editing after because it was me telling my story to melody. And it was just so simple. And that's what I like about Love Song is that it is feels that connected too. And it just like, especially in the hook, it's just like all the consonants and the vowels, they just ring out the right way, connected to what you're trying to say. Like even when you drop an F bomb in the hook, it's endearing because it's wrapped around in such a strong melody. Like it's that's the next level thing that I think anybody who spends a lot of time in the industry is looking for, is true connection inside of your own record, melodically and lyrically.
Especially with co-writes, like it's hard to, there are people that you write with that specialize in something, but then you also want to stay true to yourself. And like I go in saying, hey, I want to write a ballad, and they're like, okay. And then like I know they have good intentions, but then the producer goes and has this whole track built out. And
Yeah.
like, I would like to write a ballad, and I've started telling management like, hey, I'm just going to start writing by myself, because like this sounds a little fucked up, and I don't mean it that way, but I have a song that's about to go platinum that I wrote and produced by myself. So
Yeah, you do.
obviously I do know what I'm talking about when I say I would like to do a ballad. Like I feel like this is what I need to say right now. And that just so happens to maybe also be what some people need to hear. Like I'm in tune with my followers and my fans every day, and they're asking me like, oh, well, tell me about this and tell me about that, and can you write a song about this? And so like sometimes when I go into sessions, this is me just ranting now, they like treat me like an artist that doesn't write, and then it wastes everybody's time because I'm like, okay, well, I'm not writing, so I don't feel connected, and you're writing something that doesn't even sound like me, and I'm never going to use this song, so we wasted a day.
I mean, that's why you need hundreds of sessions. You can always kind of feel that when there's days where the session kind of derails and takes a left turn and starts heading towards somewhere where you kind of subconsciously check out, and then you say, okay, well, let me just like kind of try to connect to this and move it along and get it to a good place. And it's not something I'm personally ecstatic about, but maybe it finds a home somewhere else, and then you move on and you write one the next day. Like I used to struggle with trying to make every song a hit, and I used to spend weeks on like turning one songwriting was one write into like, well, if we change the chorus and we change this and we change, and then I finally was like years ago, I was like, if it ain't good, just write a new one the next day. Like move on. It's gonna be okay. You don't have to force every song to be something it's not. It just didn't come together that day.
And I've been starting to in sessions say like, hey, I try to do it in a very like sensitive way. I'm like, hey, you guys, are we writing for my project or for pitch today? And they're like, oh, we thought we were writing for you. And I was like, okay, that's awesome. I just wanted to let you know, like, this isn't really my style. Like, I was wanting to lean more towards this. And that is the hardest thing to do in the world, because everybody knows you can't take things personally, because like we're just here to write a good song. But of course, people sometimes take things personally. And just like there was a while with my anxiety, I would sit there in a session and let it go. And then we'd never use that song. That song would never see the light of day. Like, and I felt
Which
so
which you
bad.
probably knew like 30 minutes into the session.
Oh yeah. It's
Yeah.
like you just don't click with some people. Like their energy and their flow of the way they work is just different than yours. And like
Yeah.
they might write a really fucking amazing song for someone else. But and sometimes what sucks is like it's sometimes on a day-to-day basis. Like I tell people, you know what, I'm having an off day and I'm really sorry that this is my first impression to you. But, you know, like I'm not this bad of a writer. And I've had people say that to me too. They're like, I swear I'm a writer, blah blah blah. I'm like, dude, we're expected to reinvent the wheel on a very minor scale every single day.
Every day.
Like
Yeah.
wake up, write a song.
Yeah. I think that comes back to kind of trying to decide to be in the moment and to decide to do your best to connect.
Yeah. But also I look at writing a song as kind of like a puzzle.
For sure.
Like,
I use Sudoku all the time when you have like that one line left and you know the cadence exactly and you just have to say the right thing. It's like, okay, Sudoku, let's just figure it out. We have this reference, we have this, we're going into this hook, which feels so good. Now, how do we connect it? We need that last piece, you know? It'll, it's got to be right. The pressure of like of a final line going into a hook or like the last line of the hook being like the turn and you want that money moment, you want that thing, that big payoff. Man, those are tough sometimes.
but that's when you get stuck and you overthink things and
With Love Song, I didn't get stuck too much. Well, I mean, it was easy, like the whole song was done, so thank you. I just had to tie into it. Um, yeah, that's I guess.
the hardest part was the verses because I remember I came in with the idea of I don't write love songs, but I
And
wrote one.
Sam was like, "Yeah, let's go. All right, done.
And then
Pick it
Sam
up."
wrote the whole fucking song. He's so
Yeah.
great.
I don't really love songs. I just wrote a song. Sorry about us. It's a good melody. It's a really good melody. I can't wait to see how your fan base reacts to it, how my fan base reacts to it. I think it's dope.
I hope it gets the push it deserves because it was kind of lost in the EP, even though it was like the standout in the EP. But like, I'm just biased. I think it sounds a little different than anything I've done, and it's just so wholesome and it's so fucking sweet. And I think it really will hit a lot of people as a duet. You bringing your the opposite outlook of like, nah, dude, I got you.
Hmm.
Which if I guess if somebody said that to me romantically like that, I'd be like, okay, that's kind of weird.
You
But
got
I
oh,
got
oh
you.
you got me.
I got you. But yeah,
Or no, I got me. You can go home.
like actually, I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm so excited about this song. I hope it crushes. I think people are really going to connect to it because you have the depth and you have both perspectives, and it's just fun to listen to, and it's super sticky.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Hit me up.
Sounds good. Bye.
See ya.